Hello there, my name is Bo and welcome to Bo Beats. In today's video we are going to check out Softube's new VST soft synth. It's called Parallels, and I've actually been working with Softube and made a bunch of presets for this synth. We will start off today's video talking about what Parallels is, kind of go through it, what makes it kind of unique, and then I'll use it to make some music. So, let's do it. So this here is Parallels from Softube, and you can think of it as a 2 oscillator synth. So you have oscillator number 1 up here and oscillator 2 down here. So if you take a look here, we have a bunch of different categories here with a lot of different waveforms that we can work with, and these are very rich in sound and texture. So let me give you an example here. We have one here called Drone, and we can scroll through it using this color wheel here. Now on the other side here, so the middle side that we're seeing here is the oscillator section, and on the left side here, we have the different mod options. So you have 4 mod slots, and you can choose between LFO, random, I think it is called Euclidean or something, Euclidean sequencer. I'm not too familiar with those. You can have an envelope and you can have a sequencer as well. So these are, pretty standard, and that's the mod options that you have. There's pretty much nothing going on besides what you can see on the main screen. And on your right side here, we have the effect section, we have distortion, chorus, flanger, delay, and reverb, and then the master output here as well. That's pretty much it. And then you have the presets menu here that you can pull up, which is actually very good. It's like super handy. So let's start by going into the oscillator section here. As you can see, you can turn on and off the different oscillators. Let's start with one. Let's start with the drone combo here. Now, if I play it, of course, it just kind of loops. So what I need to do is use color movement here to create a bit of attack, a bit of decay, and set the amount. As you can see, we get this sort of sweep. And of course you have a filter for each of the oscillators, and you can also mix between the different oscillators, and we'll get to that because you can use that pretty creatively as well. So here we have the drone sound, and we of course up here have amplitude, basic amp envelope here, so we can give it a bit more attack if we want to. But let's say that we want to make something a little bit more complex here with the movement of the sound, the movement through the waveform. We can just enable the first mod here, mod A, and we can make a pretty slow LFO here and give it a bit of a different shape. And now what we can do is we can assign it, because most of the parameters, especially in the oscillator section and in the effect section, you can modulate. Now, the modulation option here is pretty cool and one of the unique features. Basically, when you click here, we get this little pop-up here. It means that you can set 2 different modulations. So if we want A here, now it's set at 50%. This means that if we set it to A and B, it will use both of these modulation sources. But for now, we're dragging it all the way to A here, and we'll increase the modulation amount here. Now, when I do, you can see the little sweep that goes on from the LFO here. So if I increase the speed, you'll see that it starts sweeping faster. So let's make a really slow one. So suddenly we have two modulations. You have the color movement and the LFO impacting the sound at once, which is kind of cool. Now let's add a second sound. So we'll enable it and we can listen to it. Just this digital oscillator. We can pitch it up. What happens if we bring it in? I think it's kind of cool. Kind of a weird pad sound here that we got going on here. Now, something that immediately caught my eye was modulating the mix. So we'll be using number A here. Still just an LFO. We could also introduce some color movement to our little digital oscillator here. And we can also use the first LFO here to impact the sound character of the second oscillator as well. Of course, we can use the filters here, so let's use this one here. Let's modulate it with an envelope. And let's enable the second filter as well and modulate it with the same envelope. Or no, we could be less boring and we could do a combination. So let's see if we can do an envelope here and the first LFO that we used, so I can show you the mix. So let's mix between A and C here, and let's see. One thing that's probably more fun is if we use a faster LFO. So let's use a pretty fast LFO, and you'll probably be noticing it a little bit more. Yeah, so now you can see it. You can see it much quicker, and in combination with the envelope that we created. So you can hear the whoa, 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 little wobbly sound, but it's still following the envelope that we set. Envelope number, which one are we using? We're using number C here. So as you can see, we already have a ton of cool modulations going on and creating this kind of moving sound. Now let's add some effects to it. Let's add some reverb. Let's add some delay. And of course, we can modulate the delay. So we could use, for example, the envelope here with the delay. So the envelope, we created the pretty slow C envelope. Let's use that for the delay. And we could do distortion as well. And let's use the B envelope to modulate that. Oh, yeah, we'll skip the flaming chorus for now. Since I'm not that big on software, I'm always a little hesitant when some company wants to team up and wants me to make sounds for their product. But when I tested this, I immediately enjoyed it because of the simplicity. Now, of course, there isn't a ton of features. I think the main strength are, the complex waveforms. It sounds really good. The interesting ways you can manipulate them with the color movement and mixing between different types of modulation sources. I think those are like the highlights. And it's very easy to make it sound great. It's great for pads, movement-based stuff, sequences, and that sort of thing. But of course, there are other softwares out there which have a lot more features. So it's a trade-off. What you see is what you get. It's very easy to use. I found it super user-friendly. It's also a really good starting point, I think, for anybody who wants to learn how to make their own sounds. So yeah, that's sort of my feel for it. I hope you enjoyed the sounds. Now let's go and make some music using this software. So in a previous video, I did a little bit of a preview of some of the sounds, and this is one of my favorites. I call it City Hub. And I thought we'd try and do a little kind of, I don't know, house tune with it. So let's see here. So let's lay down some drums using step recording. So I didn't find a bass sound that I really enjoyed for this tune, so I'm gonna create my own. So I have an initialized kind of saw sound here. So this sounds super boring. Let's bring in the second oscillator here. Let's pick something. What could we go for? Something digital maybe? So let's use the color movement option here to create a bit of movement to the sound. Let's add an LFO to the filter. So we have mod B here. Pretty slow LFO. Let's change the shape a bit. And let's apply it here to the filter. I'll just go with B here. So it's only B that is affecting the filter. We could probably use B for the second filter as well. So here you could see you could actually mix between different modulation sources if you want to, but yeah, we'll stick with one. And lastly, we need a little lead sound, so let's pick something up here as well. And here we have the singing tree. It's a sound that I made. Something like that. Let's do a little pattern here, and let's see what we can do. We need something plucky, just to make kind of a variation, something pluckily pluck. Na 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 na. So I think that turned out pretty cool. Now, if I was to change something, it would probably be the bass. I'm not too sure about this drony bass in this kind of beat. Maybe you want some more boom, boom, some more sub bass, something. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I really like kind of the lead sound that we got going on here with, with the lead and the bells. Thank you for checking out today's video. If you want to, leave a little comment down in the comment section telling me what you think about parallels, if this is something you're interested in, or if there's any other content you'd like to see using this software. So I hope you have a great day. Talk to you later.